Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. Um, Apologies for it being late. Our professor who's supposed to be presenting with us couldn't turn his camera on. So we are going to be here in the meantime while they figure that out. And then I'll come with our presentation that's regularly scheduled. But in the meantime, we can introduce ourselves. My name's Erin. I am in my fourth year of journalism and humanities. Um, yeah, and
I'm Ben. Just like Aaron, I'm fourth year journalism humanities. Yeah, so we're happy to speak on that or answer any questions you might have about the program.
yeah, so if anybody has questions they want to ask about the program, feel free to let us know and we can answer them. I guess we can start a little bit talking about the program. Normally, our professor has this whole presentation, but in the meantime, so the way I like to explain humanities is we study the history of culture and thought chronologically through influential literature. So in first year, we start off, our core course is myth and symbol, and we read books like the Hebrew Bible and the Bhagavad Gita and Epic of Gilgamesh and books like that. Ben, you want to say second year?
Yeah, sure. In second year, we do Reason and Revelation, and that gets really into the nitty gritty of political thought. So we start with Plato and Aristotle, and you really trace the influence of their original ideas all the way through Europe. You begin in Greece, and you end up in the Middle Ages and Christianity. We follow it up with Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine. And so you really get to see the scope, the scale, and the influence that philosophy has had on the continent and its significance and the way the ideas have changed and evolved to accommodate different circumstances. And so second year is it's very interesting because rather than looking at a variety of things, you sort of follow similar themes over and over and over again and build on different concepts. Aaron, what's third year?
Yeah, third year is culture and imagination. Um, so you were studying from the Renaissance to the Enlightenment, and we're reading texts starting with like Plutarch and stuff like that, all the way. I think our last text we read was Werther, like Sorrows of Young Werther and stuff like that. But we'll be reading stuff like um, oh, I'm thinking just like lots of text about enlightenment and culture and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not as fluent here as Ben. And then in fourth year, where it's politics, modernity, and the common good is our core class. So we are reading stuff about political theory. We go back, we start at Aristotle. We read like right now we've been reading Machiavelli and then Hobbes and Locke and stuff like that. And we'll be reading Marx soon. And yeah, just moving into like ideas of political theory.
That really, especially ones that really sort of like shape our understanding of like politics today. And when we think of the modern world, you find out that we sort of go back to like these texts that we look at. They've sort of built the groundwork of how we interact with politics today.
Yeah. And then as well as that, there's a bunch of courses as well that are supplemental to our core classes that we take each year. So in second year, we take Maccabees to Muhammad, which is a religious history class. As well, in second and third year, we take art history and music history classes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not just literature, but it really gives a huge kind of foundational knowledge of the history of thought and stuff.
That's a really good way to put it, Aaron, because you're very right. Like I think that's one of the big benefits of the humanities program is that like you don't just narrow down your focus into like one specific aspect. It's not entirely philosophy. It's not entirely religion. It's not entirely politics. It's all of it together, and you see how they interact with one another, and you see how they build on one another, and the cultures that surround them. So I think that's an excellent
Mhm.
way to look at it. And I think that's one of the big strengths of the program is that like you really learn how to interact with all kinds of literature evenly and process it. Like we're read like because in third year, you read everything from poetry to like economic policy, like economic theories,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but they're all treated equally.
Mhm. Definitely. I guess we can talk about there's 4 kind of different streams if you wanted to take take a Bachelor of Humanities. Um, so you can take just the Bachelor of Humanities as one. And then normally we'd have like the links and stuff, but and then the second one, you can take Bachelor of Humanities with honors. So if you wanted to major or minor in another subject as well, a lot of people will pick like religion or archaeology or
Classical studies.
yeah, something like that. History, English, all that stuff. So that's like the honors stream. And then there's journalism and humanities, which Ben and I are both in. So that's you're also doing the Bachelor of Journalism. So you take all your core Hums classes and you also take all your core journalism classes. So you are also a journalism student. And then the last one is Bio and Humanities. And that's for people who want to continue with science as well as kind of uh, the arts and stuff like that. And you do a major in bio, and that one is also geared for people who want to go into med school because you take all the courses that would be prerequisites then to apply to med school. So, yeah.
There's also it's just recently happened, but the college is starting to do digital humanities, which is very interesting. Which is the look at like the application of the humanities in the digital space,
Mhm.
and sort of like applying the skills that you acquire in humanities to more communications focused stuff. So there's a lot of really cool things happening there that a lot of people have shown interest in, and also. If there's anything that's like unclear that we've mentioned so far, we're like more than happy to just elaborate on that a little bit because I know we just thrown out like maybe half our syllabus. We've thrown out half our syllabus in the span of 7 minutes. So if there's anything that you're a little confused on, don't hesitate to
Yes.
send us a question. Um, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Yes, please send us questions. I feel like that would be the most helpful is if we could answer questions that you guys have about the program. I guess now we could talk a little bit about the community of
Yes.
humanities and stuff like that. Actually, first, I'm going to say all of our classes are supplemented with discussion groups. So all of the core classes have discussion groups. So they're kind of like tutorials if you've heard of that from other programs, but these are led specifically by our professors. So the professors that teach our lectures will lead our discussion groups, and it's like right from first year, it's small groups of less than 15 people, and we just talk about the coursework and stuff that we went through in the lecture, and that's a chance that you can ask professor a lot of questions and you can ask your peers questions and stuff. And the discussion groups are my favorite part about the
Mhm.
classes and stuff. I feel like uh, you can just go and say your hot takes on the books, and it really solidifies my knowledge. And I also feel like um, it's taught me a lot of great skills about discussion and being able to express myself and consolidate my ideas into words and stuff like that. It's also taught me a lot about listening to other people and being able to have that discussion to build off of each other. Ben, do you want to
Yeah.
talk about discussion groups?
Oh yeah, I love discussion groups. Discussion groups are great. It really has like there's a really good quality to discussion groups because you're usually like in a pretty like nice space. We the Hums building is beautiful. It's a great space. The discussion room's quite nice. We don't get a chance. We haven't had a chance to use it much this year because of the pandemic. But eventually, as things open up, we'll be able to go back there, and it's wonderful. But I think like
Okay.
for discussion groups. Oh,
is our professor here?
hello, professor here.
I am.
Hello, Professor Salmond.
All right.
Greetings. Well,
so we've kind of gone over very briefly what you study in the 4 years, and we're talking about discussion groups right now.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, let's continue. I mean, I think that's a good place for me to enter because the discussion groups or the seminars are the heart of the whole program, right? It's one of the things that distinguishes the Bachelor of Humanities from most other programs and most other universities. That is that it's not just about reading great books, it's about meeting together, sitting in a circle, and engaging with those books collectively together. So that's so central to what we're about. And, in terms of our curriculum, it's not just about reading great books, but locating ourselves in 2021 at in a conversation that's often been going on for centuries, if not millennia, about those books. So I'm happy to answer questions with you, Ben and Aaron, or anyone about what happens in our seminar groups.
I have a question.
Oh, there's a question. Could you explain again the Bachelor of Humanities with the honors degree? Like, which areas can you specify in? From my understanding, you can specify in any kind of major or minor that's available at the university. The core humanities classes are about 3 classes a semester, and you have 5. So then you have 2 other classes that you can take in whatever kind of field that you're interested in. And as well, a lot of the humanities courses, because we cover such a broad range, can count towards that degree as well.
Mm-hmm. It's very versatile.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'd add that one of the central features of the Bachelor of Humanities program is that it's a very well thought out, comprehensive education in the liberal arts, the humanities. That's history, philosophy, religious studies, English literature, music, art history, all carefully crafted to make a 4-year program. And some students can go through in the default Bachelor of Humanities degree, but equally, and probably more than half of our students do a combined honors, where you can do our Bachelor of Humanities degree combined with an honors degree in English literature or philosophy or practically any other subject at Carleton University. So some students are perfectly happy doing the straight ahead Bachelor of Humanities degree, but others want to have some specialization in a particular discipline that can be combined with our degree. So that gives us, it preserves both our core curriculum, which is a very well thought out, comprehensive education covering the bases of the different liberal arts disciplines, plus allowing you to get some specialization in English or history if you so desire.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the question.
Yes. If anybody else has questions, please ask them. I hope that answered your question. Do we want to move on to talking about the community of the program of the humanities?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I feel, because, as we said, you have like 3 or 4 core classes a semester that are all done. So you're at the same cohort all 4 years, and you take all like 4 of those classes, 3 of those classes together. And the profs know that too. So a lot of the classes build off the knowledge from one class to the other. And because you're with the same classmates for all those classes, you guys get really close and stuff. Ben's one of my best friends here. But on top of that, there's a lot of different social events happening at the college and stuff. I always say there's always something happening. We have like 4 different student societies that you can join into. So I guess we can talk about those student societies. Ben, do you want to talk about the formal committee?
Oh yeah, the Hums formal is a really great moment for the whole program to come together. It's all there in the name. It's just it's a formal get together. There's a dance. There's we pick very good venues for it. In an unbiased way, I say we pick very good venues. And there's always a theme to accompany it. And frankly, like as far as I can say, it's just a great social activity for the program, because you see all of the people like from first to fourth year, everyone's together, everyone's engaging in conversation with one another in just like one area. The profs show up, and that's always a treat. So the Hums formal and the committee behind it, it's I don't know, it's great. It really like just demonstrates like the social aspects of the community, like, and how tight knit it is. Because if you go to that, you're going to know without a doubt at least one person there, and then it just provides you so many more opportunities to get to know everyone else. That's all I can really say about it. Other than that, it's a blast.
All right. Maybe I could add something as a faculty member. That is that, and this goes back to our discussion of the seminars, the discussion groups that happen every week. For me, as an instructor, as a professor, it's so wonderful to have the chance to meet in those small groups and get to know the students. Because in other programs, often you're lecturing to a group of perhaps 200 students, and you walk into the lecture theater and you deliver your lecture and you go back to your office. But in the Bachelor of Humanities program, I get to meet every week with these small discussion groups, 12, 15, maybe 17 students, and we sit in a circle and talk about the text that we're reading for that week. And so that itself is the beginning of the creation of a sense of community in the program. And then, of course, we have our own dedicated spaces. I don't know whether Aaron and Ben had mentioned that before, but certainly we're in the process of coming back post-COVID to the use of our dedicated common room or lounge for the Bachelor of Humanities students. And so that's also the physical space. We have our own precinct on the Carleton campus with our own lecture theater, our own seminar room, and our own common room or lounge for BHUM or Bachelor of Humanities students. And so all of that, I think, helps create that learning community that persists, post-graduation, that we have an alumni society that's also quite active. And so I think if students are looking for something other than a very impersonal and large-scale experience at university, then a program like ours is really for you. Some students prefer to be anonymous and sit in the back of a great big huge lecture theater. I recognize that some people actually prefer that, but I think for people who are very keen to seriously engage with the great books and the great works of art of human civilization, and to engage with other people in a community setting, then this is something that, again, we're very proud of offering.
Mm-hmm. If I could speak to the lounge, that's something during the pandemic I missed so much, and it's back in person now, and it's just a place where work done, you can hang out with friends, we have games and books and everything there, but it's a place where all 4 years go to like get work done and stuff, so you get to know the people in all the other years as well. It's a really the whole College of the Humanities is a real community. It's not just your year, you're closest with your year, but you get to know everybody. And it's a place where, you know, like people are always talking about the texts, and it's a way of talking about our course content in a more informal manner. And I find that really solidifies my understanding, you know, when you're making jokes about the text you're reading and stuff like that. And as well, upper years are always like willing to help the younger years, like edit papers or talk about content and stuff that they studied a couple years ago. But yeah, it's a place where there's really inter-year community and stuff in the lounge. And it's a nice place too. You know, there's art on the walls and there's comfy chairs and all that stuff.
It really is. It really is a great space, and I'd say it's one of the great resources of the Humanities program. It just has this very warm, inviting atmosphere to it. So you can never go wrong with going to the Hums Lounge.
Yes, you know, we don't know what the COVID future holds immediately, but I want to share one anecdote, and that is that I teach the first year of the program, the course called Humanities 1000, Myth and Symbol. And last year we had to deliver that course entirely online, but we did the discussion groups online, live on Zoom, synchronously, in other words, in the scheduled hour. And I need to say that the discussion groups last year, despite having to be online and not in person, were some of the best that I've had in almost 25 years of teaching in the program. So that we're confident, we're hoping that as this year the campus is about 50% reopened, and hopefully next year it'll be fully reopened. But even if it isn't, we create community even in the online Zoom environment. You know, and I was so impressed by the level of discourse last year online. This year, I'm teaching my lectures virtually on Zoom, but we're meeting in person on the campus for the discussion groups. But even last year, when those groups were virtual, those students really bonded together, and they're so happy to be on the campus this year and actually meeting in person now that they're in second year of the program. And so I think what Aaron said, that we're a fairly small community of about, you know, roughly 200, sometimes as many as 250 students, but in a university with approaching 30,000 students, so that the College of the Humanities creates that learning community and that supportive community for the students in the program, and that's tremendously important.
Somebody's asking more about Bachelor of Humanities with biology. Does anybody want to answer that? I'm not a bio-hum student.
I'm happy to do that, unless I forget, Ben, whether...
Nope, I'm Jay Hums, just like Aaron.
Well, let me give you a bit of the backstory on that, Mira. Over the years, we've had students enter our program who are interested in medicine and careers in the medical world. And so in the early years of the program, I'm talking about back in the late 90s, we had students do our Bachelor of Humanities degree, but on the side, in the few electives they had, they did biology and biochemistry in order to strengthen their training when it came to apply to medical school. And we had a sufficient number of students interested in that path that we decided to create a specialization in biology, or a combined degree with the biology program, in order to facilitate humanities students who wanted to go on into medicine. And that's been very successful. We've had many Bachelor of Humanities graduates go on to medical school, and many of them now are, we have many of them who are practicing physicians in a variety of medical specializations. And you can see that on our website when you look at the section on alumni or graduates of the program. So some of the students in the bio stream are headed to medical school, but others are simply interested in other areas of biology, like conservation or field biology or ecology and that sort of thing. But it was fundamentally set up, as I said, to facilitate entry into medical schools. And there are many medical schools, and one of the best in the world in this regard is McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. Medical schools that recognize that it's important to have physicians who are also broadly educated in the humanities, because they need to deal with a very diverse population of patients, and they need to have a good bedside manner. And this is the sort of skill set that you get from a humanities education. And so we've had, as I said, a significant number of our graduates be accepted to medical school and go through that training and are now in the medical world. I hope that helps, Mira, for that question.
Okay.
Conversation. What books have you found sparked some of the best of your favorite conversations? Man, we've read a lot. Honestly, if I was to answer that question for me right now, I have the privilege of taking it's a history of the conservative tradition course with Professor Jeffrey Callow, and that's my 4th year seminar. And I would say that right now is a very like, by nature of it being a seminar, it's a very conversation heavy course, but it's definitely a course that has sort of like really like pushed me to think harder and deeper about the text than I have in many other situations, because you're encountering like these very specific, unique ideas about like what is culture and what should we do as like the inheritors of culture. And so in a seminar, like, not only do you have to like comprehend or understand them, but you do have to be able to give your own opinion on them and be able to point out what is satisfying and what is not satisfying, and where the texts speak to you and where they lose you. So genuine, just in 4th year, I would say, reading something like I read Matthew Arnold recently, and he on Culture and Anarchy. Very interesting text. I don't agree with most of it, frankly, but by virtue of the nature of the seminar, like, I have to say, like, yeah, I don't agree with it, but why don't I agree with it? What about it is unsatisfying? Is it literally just that I refuse to understand it? And it really like makes you engage with the text on very impactful levels. So other than that, you can never go wrong with the Odyssey. Everyone loves the Odyssey.
How about you, Erin?
I have a few that come to mind. In 3rd year, I did a presentation on the Toddler, like Addison, and so it's like a newspaper, well, kind of like a column from the Enlightenment, and it sparked an interesting discussion about journalism and like consumption and what's considered journalism. So that was interesting for me as a journalism student as well. And then I have 2 from the Hebrew Bible in 1st year that I feel like I did a really good job in my discussion, or at least like I found it was a lot of fun. When we discussed Genesis, like the story of Adam and Eve, I thought that one was a really interesting discussion. And that was my first time where I really felt like I was like coming into my own in terms of discussion and stuff like that. And then as well, the book of Job from the Hebrew Bible, I found that was a really interesting discussion as well. Yeah, so for me, I guess the Hebrew Bible from 1st year.
That's interesting, Erin, because just 2 days ago, I did a discussion group on the first 3 chapters of the book of Genesis, the creation account, and we had a pretty lively debate about the implications for the status of women, you know, from reading the Genesis account and the punishment of Eve and so forth. So I think that, and I'm happy to hear you make reference to the book of Job in the Bible, a very important text which wrestles with the question, is there such a thing as innocent suffering? And if there is, what kind of a world do we inhabit? But I think the point I'd like to make here is that from my vantage point, teaching these ancient texts in the first year of the program, one thing that I think is important to recognize, they may be ancient texts, but they reverberate right down to the current day, and people appeal to these texts. So one of the texts that I most enjoy and I find provokes a lot of discussion in the first year is a famous Indian text called the Bhagavad Gita. And it's a text composed perhaps a few centuries before, around the time of the turn of the Common Era. In other words, more than 2,000 years old. But I make the point that there have been efforts in contemporary India to have the Bhagavad Gita declared the national book of that nation, right? And so ideas in the Bhagavad Gita, yes, it's a very ancient text, but it's very much alive and well in the consciousness of the people of India. And the people of India number approximately pushing 1.3 billion human beings. So that's a very significant number. And that's a very significant text. And it wrestles with universal questions, one of which is, is there such a thing as just war? I think all of us would agree that violence and fighting are not good things, but is there a point where they become inevitable and unavoidable? And the Bhagavad Gita wrestles with that question in a powerful dialogue between the deity Krishna and this warrior prince named Arjuna. And so I'm coming back to my main point here is that beginning in first year, we may be looking at ancient texts, and in the second year, medieval texts, but it's not just of antiquarian interest. Not that there's anything wrong with antiques or old stuff, but it's important to recognize that old stuff actually is powerfully influencing currents of thought in 2021, and not just in Canada, but around the world.
There's another question. Can you talk about what people do after the BHUM program? So if you go to our website, we have like list of alumni and stuff and what they're doing now, but people go on, you can really do anything. As I said, this is a very foundational knowledge. There's people in teaching and in journalism and in healthcare, lawyers. I personally am continuing on to do a master's after this degree, but yeah, there's people, if you go to the website, there is like anything you can think of, real estate, yeah, archaeology, etc. It's really just a foundational knowledge. So
yeah,
you're set up for success wherever you go next.
It's a good way to put it. The humanities program is whatever you want to make of it. And so if you have a vision for where you want to go and where you want to apply your knowledge, the humanities programs gives you a very good set of skills to articulate your ideas and consume a lot of information and read a lot, and be able to produce that information eloquently. So it arms you with a lot of really important skills. And really at that point, once you have those skills that you've mastered, there's really very little that stands in the way of you doing whatever you want with them.
Mm-hmm. I think we have about a minute left, so we kind of got sidetracked a little bit on the the social aspect of the program. So briefly, I'm going to say as well, we also have a art and literary journal, North, and that's another social club. We have Hum Social Society that runs inter-year different events and stuff like movie nights and craft nights and stuff like that. Hum's Formal also runs a fight night, which is a debate between professors and students on just fun topics and stuff like that. Is Achilles and Patroclus from the Iliad gay? That's been a topic before and stuff like that. And then as well, we have music nights and stuff like that. And we also have a lot of cultural events. So as of right now, there's a ballet happening at the NAC, and there was tickets that are heavily subsidized in first year. Before COVID, the first years would go to Montreal for a week, and that was also heavily subsidized by the college and stuff like that. And third years would go to New York as well, like art galleries and museums and all that kind of stuff. There's so many cultural events as well that the college sponsors.
Yeah, and I think, Aaron, I'd add that also we have a mentorship program. So if someone's interested in law, we will find them a lawyer in the Ottawa community they can sit down and have a coffee with a few times. And so that's also, or you're interested in museums, we'll find someone in the museum community who can chat with you. As we are coming to the end of our time, one thing I do want to stress is that you're welcome to visit the college. And if you go to our website, there's a Visit Us link, and then you can attend one of our lectures virtually online, or you can come to one of our in-person on campus, if you're in the Ottawa area, discussion seminars. And we're very welcoming of you to do that. So you can sort of, instead of just hearing us talk about it, you can get a taste of experience what the program is about. So don't be shy about visiting the college or contacting Professor Michelin White, whose link is also on the college website page, as she handles a lot of inquiries about the program. Or you're welcome to contact me as well by email. My link will be on my contact will be on that website. So we do encourage visits, and we're very welcoming of prospective students who just want to get a better sense of what it actually looks like, and you can chat with some of the students. And I'm so grateful that Aaron and Ben have been here to fill in for me, having a little tech problem at the beginning. But I think our students are some of our best ambassadors in terms of, giving the real deal, not just a spin from the faculty. If there are other questions out there.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to our session.
Yeah. Thank you for sticking around. It's wonderful to be able to talk about the program, and we hope you considered. We have a booth here. If anyone is interested in having a more in-depth talk with us, you can always hop over and visit there. There should be someone, at least someone in it. Might be me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Do we get cut off at the 45-minute mark, or?